Well, there you are. Good morning, and welcome once again. The boys are back in studio. Welcome to Garden America, Brian Main, John Begnasco, Tiger Palafox. We trust you had a good week. Those of us here in California looking forward to drying up a little bit before the next little bit of rain comes through. We are excited to be back. No guest today. It's going to be us again with some more gardening tips, so we appreciate you tuning in from the get-go. Those on Biz Talk Radio, thank you for tuning in, supporting our many sponsors. Tiger, you had a good week at the nursery. John had a good week at home. What's new, John, in Fallbrook, California?
We got some rain.
We got some rain. Is that necessarily new?
Oh, my gosh. So much rain. One of the things we need to talk about today, I don't know if you noticed the backdrop for the newsletter, but you always like those, Brian.
I love your backdrop.
That's the first thing you look at.
Yeah.
But we have clip art with, a girl standing in the rain.
Yeah.
Just so much water. And we need to talk today about how plants are going to fare through this.
You know, you had a picture of a tree which had fallen over, which happened on many occasions the past couple of weeks here in San Diego. Both public and private property, because the ground is so saturated and those roots become weak and they fall over and can cause a lot of damage, which did happen.
Oh, my son had a lot of emergency calls from trees falling over.
And for those that don't know, your son runs a tree company, right?
Tree trimming service,
right.
Green Gorilla.
Green Gorilla. Where'd that name come from? That's a good name.
That was my oldest son's name, who started the company.
Green representing trees.
I don't know. I always thought it was a bad name, but he liked it.
Well, it's unique.
Yeah.
But
it's funny you mentioned this is something that's unusual for us, John, because the one thing that I think really shows it's unusual for us is that normally when it rains, you'll see rain, the ground will get wet. Hour later, things are dry. The sidewalk gutters have dried up. The little drain holes out of people's homes where water is coming from the backyard into the front yard into the street is dried up.
Right.
When you're driving along a freeway, those retaining walls that retain hillsides, there's drainage there that has dried up. You're seeing it just constantly come out of the hillsides, of these drains,
right,
of the retaining wall drains. You're just seeing water continuous. Days after it rains, you're still seeing that water come through the soil and empty into these drains. When I remember the only time I ever saw those city, what would you call them, flood channels? The big drains that gather water from freeways and things like that, and then they send it off into our major rivers.
Right, exactly.
Like those huge culverts?
Yeah, huge culvert.
Yeah.
It's a concrete culvert, but bigger, not a small one. I remember the only time I ever saw that was when it was actively raining, you would see water in them. I was driving by one in Mission Valley the other day. It hadn't rained for a day, and there was still a river going through it because there was that much water still draining.
At the most, I think during all this rain, we had maybe, 24 hours of no rain in between, or a little more, and then it would rain again. It was constant.
And so that just tells you that the ground is so saturated right now.
Well, we have roads closed from sinkholes. Highway 78 from College to Oceanside is closed because of sinkholes.
Yeah.
I have sinkholes on my property.
Really?
Those are gophers. Those are gopher condominiums
exactly.
that fell in.
They start with gophers.
And they've weakened the rest of your soil.
But, Tiger's doing his crew's doing some work at my house, and they've put in drainage. And even with the drainage, 2 days later, water's still there.
Still there, yeah.
So it's just the ground's super saturated.
And a little bit of rain this week, and we'll see after that.
That wasn't an exaggeration, by the way. Super saturated is a technical term that means the ground physically cannot hold any more water.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing to still see that happening because that's just very rare for us.
Very rare.
Usually we get
absolutely.
rain, it absorbs,
right.
It goes into the ground. A while back we had a farmer on our show, Nick Davis from up in the Central Valley, and I've been following him on his social media. And one of the things that the Valley is doing, because they used to just let this water run off, right?
Right.
That was the big problem with California is this water would go into culverts and rivers, and it would just go to the ocean, which, that's what we always were designed to do, was to drain water away. Well, they started noticing it depleted the groundwater. So now they're paying farmers to pump that culvert water back onto their farm property, which is then in hopes going to recharge the groundwater. So rather than letting the water just run through rivers and run out, they're trying to get it to go back into the soil, which would then hopefully recharge the groundwater
When things dry out, it should be one heck of a spring and summer, just in terms of the growth and the colors.
Yeah.
And we have water now, right?
Marguerite in Reading says good morning from a sunny but cool Reading. And Rochelle is saying the same thing here in San Diego County. And that's what it's been. Even when the sun's come out, it's
cold.
Been cool.
Yeah.
60 degrees is cool for us during this time of year.
Right.
During the day. On
Right.
a sunny day.
And you feel it, too. It's jacket weather all day.
Yeah.
Almost, yeah. If the sun's out, 61, 62 is pleasant.
Right.
If you're working around the yard, then, yeah, you don't need a jacket, but it's still cool.
I can always tell that it's cold when Tiger has long pants on.
Exactly.
You know what? When I greet him at the door in the morning.
Yeah, you can tell the
long
temperature.
pants.
Yeah.
A little cool, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's got shorts on.
Yeah.
Yep.
But, some of the things that you need to watch out for, if you have any containers without drainage holes and they're out where water's been getting them, you have to tip them over.
I've done that,
and let the excess water come out.
I've done it several times with a couple. Everything else is okay, but I've got a couple that just fill up with water, and I've got to dump them.
And some things you don't notice, like if you have evergreens, like I have 2 containers in the front of the house with Alberta spruce. And I don't know why when I planted them, my wife bought the pots. I never put holes in the bottom, so I had to keep dumping it out. But the thing on a lot of conifers is that you can't tell if they're dead because, like, look at a Christmas tree.
Yeah,
How long does it stay green in your house?
Veronica says that her weeds love the rain.
Yeah.
The weeds are growing really fast, but they're also easier to pull out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
I'm making progress on my rose beds that I would panic because I've got now close to 200 roses planted in this one area and no irrigation. Tiger always kids me that the only place that I'm planting is a place he hasn't irrigated.
Exactly.
So you're okay for a
all this
while.
area has irrigation now, and John's over here off in this part of the property that no irrigation exists.
Hey, I saw something from SDGE this week.
Okay.
And you probably know the program because of your nursery, I guess. But they're offering you anywhere from $35 to $50 to plant a tree.
Yes.
And they have a list of trees that you can choose from.
Yes.
And to get your rebate, all you have to do is send them a picture of the tree, either in the pot or in the ground, and a picture of the receipt. So for a 1 or 5 gallon plant, you can get $35. For a 15-gallon tree, you can get $50. And that, I don't remember retail prices since I'm not associated with retail anymore, but my guess is that at least is half the price, if not the full price of some trees,
Correct.
right?
Yes. Yeah, and I mean, I think that was they changed it because they used to give you trees, meaning you used to sign up for that same program. You would check the boxes on the trees you would want, and then they would deliver them to you.
Right.
And the wait list was like months.
Well, they
years.
also probably realize, this costs us a lot more than $35 a tree to grow these.
Exactly. So I think this is their way that they're going to have this program in the future for people. And it goes to the whole idea. The reason people would think, like, why is SDGE? San Diego Gas and Electric. It's an electric company. It's a gas company. What does having trees have to do with those bills? And it's the idea that if you could shade your home, more tree canopy,
keep things cool. You don't need to use their energy.
Decreases the energy usage across the board for everyone. And they do a really good job of teaching people where to plant the tree. They do a good job of which trees to plant, low water trees, things like that. Nothing that's going to interfere with their power lines.
There were even fruit trees on the list.
Yes.
I was
So,
surprised no citrus.
I think that they're just not tall enough. I think the citrus aren't tall enough to achieve what they want out of like a shading or something. You know what I mean? So no, it's a great program that they do, and they've done it for years and years and years. Like I say, they used to be something that you signed up for. They delivered you the tree, and people were waiting like, oh, I placed my tree order a year ago, and they just arrived. Kind of a thing. That was the big joke, but.
I probably shouldn't say this, but my personal opinion is it's just a waste of taxpayer money.
Well,
Because
guess what?
if somebody wants shade, they're going to go buy a tree. Not because SDGE made them.
Yeah, but I think
it's
a lot
not-
of people.
It's not taxpayer money. That's your money that
Yeah.
SDGE is using.
But I think Tiger brought up a point that a lot of people don't even know that a tree would help them in that regard.
Really?
You have to know that a tree is going to keep things cooler, so on and so forth.
And you think those people should be helped?
I don't think they should be involved in various things regarding the topic which we've discussed.
Surely
the
I.
How was that? Was that a
Where's the
political
soapbox
answer?
at?
Surely I jest.
How was that? That roundabout political answer that made no sense.
It was very presidential for you.
Very presidential. Hey, we got a break coming up here for our friends on Biz Talk Radio in a minute or so, but we want to get John's quote of the week, which if you miss it, it's a blink of an eyeball. The quote is over.
This is a quote for you.
Because it's short and sweet.
You like short and sweet quotes. And this
Blink
one
of an eye.
from Henry Wadsworth Longfellow.
Yeah.
He said, the best thing one can do when it's raining is to let it rain.
Yeah.
Well put.
You can't stop it.
It's like Mark Twain said, everybody complains about the weather, but no one does anything about it. That's two quotes.
Oh.
Maybe I won't do one next week.
No, you have to.
Okay.
Even if you have to make it up. I got to make up a quote so I can get credit from John.
Yeah.
And he'll say, do you know who said that? I'll go, yeah, me. Said it last week.
But we're going to spell your name with an I. In that way.
Funny guy. I work with people that still spell my name with an I. Like, come
Well,
on.
some of our listeners don't realize that Brian is Bryan, right?
And in my email, I make the Y capital. So it's BRYAN.
Why?
See,
Okay.
I used to think your name was Buryan.
You can still
Buryan.
call me that.
Okay.
Hey, we're going to take a break for Biz Talk Radio. Thank you for tuning in. Remember, if you want to watch our show live, go to our Facebook page every Saturday, 8 o'clock West Coast, 11 o'clock Eastern Time Zone. Watch us live, interact. With that in mind, break time on Biz Talk Radio. Stay with us. We are back from that break. Want to thank those that are tuned in on Biz Talk Radio. Want to thank Stephanie, who keeps us on the air each and every week on our national platform, Biz Talk Radio. Speaking of platforms, and I know John was a bit confused this morning when he came into work, first thing I want to mention to our listeners and our viewers, go to our website, gardenamerica.com. First of all, every show is archived there. You can read bios on guests, previous guests. You can read all about them. You can see just about everything going on in the world of gardening with various articles and pictures that we post. Our webmaster, Daniel, doing a great job. It does help us out, so do go to our website, gardenamerica.com. And by the way, the different platforms we're on, we are broadcasting on the iHeartMedia platform. We're also on Pandora, Spotify, Google, Alexa. In fact, this morning I had two different shows going on this morning at the same time. I had one of our shows in the bathroom via Alexa, Amazon. In the bedroom, I had another one of our shows going on. So there you go. Now, the way I get Alexa to play it,
I don't know if I want to watch the shows going on in your
I wasn't
bedroom,
watching.
in your bathroom.
No, I wasn't watching. These are podcasts. So I had Alexa on.
You said you had different shows going on.
Yeah, I had one of our podcasts. See, this is where John gets confused. One of our shows in the bathroom, another show in the bedroom via Amazon Alexa.
By the way, I went to our website today,
Yes.
and you need to get maybe some snacks and a drink if you go to the website. There's so much going on.
There is.
You
Some
can't.
snacks and a drink.
You
No,
can't
he's
do.
right.
Yeah, you can't do it in a couple minutes.
You could spend all day there.
Yeah.
So if you haven't been to
Matter
our
of fact,
website,
I got
check
lost.
it out.
You had to pull me out.
You went down a rabbit hole.
I did. But yeah, there's a lot of information.
There's a lot of rabbit holes. GardenAmerica.com. Oh, by the way, another platform is our YouTube channel, Garden America Radio Show. These shows are uploaded early afternoon after the show. So if you have any questions about anything we just talked about, our website, the various platforms, let us know. We'll help you, or at least point you in the right direction. My spiel's over. Oh, by the way, Tiger, you're posting videos too.
Yeah. I'm
Let's
posting
talk about
videos.
those videos you're posting, little short ones.
Little short videos on little how-tos, little what's happening in the garden, seasonal things. So, lots of fun stuff.
Yep,
Right?
lots of fun stuff.
Keeping us all very busy.
Right. But again, if you do go to the website, you'll keep busy. You'll stay busy because there's a lot to see. If you missed any shows, you missed maybe a guest you want to hear again or never heard in the first place, then that's the place to be, GardenAmerica.com. And it does make Daniel happy when we push the website.
Yeah, it does make
Well,
me
Daniel says that he thinks that you go to the podcast so often that it's affecting our listenership.
That's good. Hey, by the way, in order for me to get Alexa to play our show, because the first couple of times it was another garden show, I said, play Garden America Radio Show podcast. And then she seems to get it.
Yeah. Now she
Garden
gets it.
America Radio Show podcast.
Good for Alexa.
We got a Jan, one of our listeners up in Brentwood, California, up in the Bay Area, says that the roses are going crazy with this weather. They really like it, and she's got new leaves and buds and flowers. But the reason I wanted to point out, Brian, is that I got an email from her, and she says that she definitely is going to send you a George Burns rose.
Really?
Yep.
That makes me so happy. You know how certain plants
I don't
make you happy? Just
yeah,
like
I don't think she realizes how happy it really makes you.
it's been 10, 15 years since I had one.
That long.
Yeah, because when I moved into my
I
current
remember
place,
along with that, you had Perfect Moment.
Yep.
Which has since gone too, right?
Right, from when I did the move.
Right.
Most of mine survived the move. This was back in 2008. So yes, I'm going to be excited for George Burns. Oh my gosh.
Now you not only have roses in your back patio area, but you've got rose coming up, maybe.
And I have roses leading up the pathway as well because I outgrew the patio, and it's really nice because a lot of those are placed on quote unquote HOA property, and the prior management company would have told me to move them. No problem now. Nobody's saying a word. Well, you know what? It adds to the beauty. It's adding to the area.
Since we're talking about roses, if you go to ccrsauction.com, the list of roses for our April auction is now up. And I believe starting next week, you'll be able to place bids if you're out of town or out of state. So looking forward to that. Some roses offered for the very first time in our auction. And for the first time in a long time, the featured rose is excuse me, Lemon Chiffon, which is a 1954 rose from Herb Swim. And Modern Roses 10, I believe, listed as being extinct.
Really?
Yeah, but it's in the auction. And I saved one for the fall auction, too, because I know that's one you'll like to talk about. And
I like those different roses.
Yeah.
I like the auction where we have stories behind the roses.
Well, like also I was just going to comment because you were talking about Jan and the roses. That roses look so great right now because they got new growth.
why does that new growth in the spring look so good?
Right?
There's no disease
fresh,
on
there's
it.
no
Yeah.
disease.
I love the leaves.
There's the different
They're
ones that
shiny.
are glossy.
Yeah.
Yes,
and then
exactly.
mine have buds on them. Some of them even have flowers, and everything's just looking so good. See, but then the fall, the plant's a little older.
Right.
It's gone through a year
Right,
of growth. The leaves sometimes don't look as good. The flowers are getting a little smaller, a little older. So right now, roses are looking spectacular. Even at the nursery, the ones that we have at the nursery that we're selling,
Right.
the plants just look spectacular at this
Yeah,
moment in
you're
time.
right. I love the shiny leaves.
Yeah.
Love it.
All new leaves. Yeah.
So what I do is I take a picture of it. So in case
So
they
it
start,
lasts longer.
well, yeah, and then later on when they start to look bad, if somebody says, "What's wrong with your roses?" I say, "Well, hold on. Here's a picture. I want you to show that I can do it.
Yeah.
You know, I do have my moments." Because you're right about getting into the fall, how they'll start to deplete a little bit.
I usually can remember, since you guys don't have as many roses as I do, I can usually remember what you have, but I don't remember if Tiger has this one. And I started one, and I don't even know if you want it. But I thought you might want Morgan Hill Red, or do you already have it?
No, I don't have Morgan Hill. I've got the Chrysler Imperial, orange juice, and then there was a yellow one that I got at the last auction. I can't remember what it's called.
Okay, Morgan Hill Red, I thought you might want because of Janine's family,
Family's
right?
from Morgan Hill.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, yay.
Yeah, it's a found rose.
Right.
And,
it was found in a cemetery,
Cemetery, right? Wasn't it?
You know, I'm not sure about that one.
A lot of roses are rediscovered in
Many
cemeteries.
roses are found in cemeteries.
Right.
Yeah.
Or is it the San Jose one that you found was found in a cemetery? Wasn't there one San Jose also? And I feel like you keep telling me something about the San Jose cemetery, and it was found there.
There's the Sacramento Cemetery, which has a lot of roses that were found there.
Okay.
And then there's the San Jose Heritage Rose Garden.
That's where we went.
Right,
we went
where
there.
we dropped off roses.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, we went there.
You know, Carla's got the same reaction I did, John. She says, "I didn't know there's an auction in April. Where is it? Online? I'll look it up."
If you go online, it'll tell you exactly where it is. And it's the same place we had the one last fall.
And this was put on by
California Coastal Rose Society.
Same organization.
Right.
CCRS.
But usually the fall auctions are big auction, and hopefully that'll be at Tiger's Nursery.
Yeah.
But right now we're waiting to find out if the San Diego Rose Society will put on a rose show at the same time. The people in charge of putting on the rose shows for the San Diego show are experiencing the same problem I am. They're doing 3 rose shows at the same time.
Wow.
They're doing a district rose show for the Pacific Southwest District. They're working on the national convention in Shreveport, and they're working on their own show.
We have to take a break.
Okay, when we come back, we're going to talk about plumeria problems. Veronica in Spring Valley has some questions.
Yeah, I may have a question or two as well. So break time for Biz Talk Radio. Quick break on Facebook Live. Do stay with us. Questions, comments, interaction right there on our Facebook page. This is Garden America. All right, we are back from the break. Now, those that are watching us on Facebook Live, you saw Tiger exit the studio.
Walk out the door.
He
Where's
walked
he going?
out the door. And this is kind of interesting. His kids are locked out of the house. So he's got to go.
That's the only way you can get kids to learn. You know, if you give them everything, you let them in, you know, but, you know, the rain has stopped.
Sure.
It's not really that bad to keep them locked
He's
outdoors.
about 10 minutes away, which is about the same length of this current segment. So it's going to be John and myself for the next 10 minutes while Tiger runs home to let the kids into the house.
We can still answer some questions.
Oh, absolutely.
Though, right?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do...
Plumerias, right? You want to talk about that?
Yeah, Veronica, let's see. She said that normally this time of year, and this is not normal, right?
No, this is very, very not
normal. The weather,
normal.
at least, is not normal. Right. She said that she puts her plumerias out after the 17th, but because they're still on a covered porch, or they are still on a covered porch, she wants to know whether to start watering them while on the porch or wait.
No, wait, have they been getting water from all this rain?
No, because it's a covered porch. So that's what she's wondering. You know, it depends. If they haven't had any water, it's probably not going to hurt. But normally I recommend not watering till you see new leaves start.
Right.
But
I'll tell you what, mine got a lot of water.
Oh, mine too.
Just
mine are on a
drenched.
hillside, a sandy hillside, fortunately.
So the water's rolling
granite.
downhill.
Yeah, but...
in fact, it was one of those pots that I had to dump over that
really?
I talked about earlier. Right.
You know,
So-
even if you have holes, drainage holes in your pot, but your pot's sitting in a saucer, you need to dump the water out of the saucer.
Right.
I have, 33-gallon trash cans. Hold 33 gallons of water, I would assume. But that's what I use as a rain gauge to see how much rain that I've had.
Right.
Sometimes I'll use two, one to find out how much in that particular rainstorm, and the other just a season total, even though
Sure.
some's going to be evaporating.
That's why every time we ask you about rainfall, you know exactly.
I know, yeah.
I had 5 inches.
But the one trash can I have is completely full. It's to overflowing now.
So what do you do with all that water?
Well, I just let it sit there.
But
But-
you use it. I
Yeah,
would
but
hope.
what's 33 gallons? Come on.
Come on.
You
it's
use
water.
that much washing dishes.
You know what? It's good water, though.
It is good.
It's good water.
Yeah, it's good because it's purified and has some oxygen in
Love
it.
the oxygen aspect of
Yeah.
the rainfall. You explain to people that those raindrops have oxygen, which is different than the hose water we get out of the city.
So Veronica wants to know when she can put them back in the yard. And normally you'd say, no problem, put them out now. But I saw that we're looking at some high 30-degree temperatures next week, maybe.
Yeah, so it's still very chilly.
Yeah, so I would wait, maybe not next week, but do it the week after. Technically, it should not hurt if you put them out now.
We've discussed in the past about not watering plumerias this time of the year anyway, until you see leaves.
Well, when they're dormant, right.
Right.
Yeah, when you see the leaves, it's time to
It's
start.
like waking somebody up who's sleeping.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
But if you've got drainage, does it really hurt? You know, like I just said, mine are in the ground and it's been nonstop rain, but the rain is draining through the soil. And the same thing if you had a pot, the water would drain through the pot. So,
You know what? The best advice, just keep an eye on everything. Keep an eye on everything. How does it look? You know?
And if anything goes wrong, well, you should have kept an eye
Should
on
have
it.
kept a better eye on it.
Yeah.
Who else has a question, John, or a comment that we're keeping up on?
Lenore has 3 large rose cuttings she planted directly in the ground. They're sprouting beautifully, which doesn't necessarily mean anything because a lot of times rose cuttings, at least the ones I start, will put out sprouts and maybe even a bud or two, and then all of a sudden they start rotting from the base up because they were never rooted. And this rain keeps them really fresh. So
Yeah.
hopefully you can do that. My grandmother used to, in Detroit, would start all her roses from cuttings in the fall by sticking the cuttings in the ground and then covering them with a bottle, like a big wine jug,
Okay,
a gallon
I'm
jug.
thinking, how big is this bottle
She would
you're
cut out,
talking about?
break out the bottom of the bottle, and then just put it over the top.
And Lenore says she got 7 or 8 new containers with no holes yet, and all are full of water.
That's exactly what we're talking about,
Yep.
right? So Carla said she watered all of her house plants with rainwater yesterday because the outside plants don't need it.
No,
Have you
they're-
thought of that? You have a lot of indoor plants,
I
don't
don't.
you?
No,
You don't?
they're all fake. They're all silk.
No,
they
what
look
about
good.
the Dracaena, that huge Dracaena?
That's outside. It's right outside. It's
Oh,
right
really?
outside the front door. It's covered.
Oh, you used to have that in the house.
Yeah, you good memory. And that I got that. That thing is that's about 15 years old. It's looking a little peaked, starting to look a little tired.
Well, maybe,
A little fertilizer and water.
yeah, and maybe being outdoors will help a lot. My wife, I think I talked last week or the week before about her starting some seeds indoors.
Oh yeah, yes.
And these passion flower seeds, she was telling me yesterday, said that they could take a year to germinate. And personally think the whole thing is a scam, like you with your rose seeds that you tried.
That we bought that were actually
Right.
sesame seeds or something else.
Because she also planted some African daisy seeds, and those all came up right away. But the holes where the passion flowers were, nothing was coming up. But now, a little green is poking up. So we put them outside for the first time yesterday to harden them off a little bit, then brought them in at night. So we'll see what these passion flowers do.
Speaking of your wife, do you have lots of, or does she have lots of hydrangeas?
Not as many as she would
As
like.
she would like.
But we've been collecting them for the last 2 years,
Yeah.
getting ready to plant. And now that Tiger's put in irrigation, we'll do that.
And different colors, obviously, of hydrangeas.
Oh, yeah. Well, I brought the one in, remember, with the
Mhm.
double flowers? Was it Princess Diana?
Yep.
I'm trying to think if
so.
that was it. Um,
Are we caught up?
I was just. Sometimes I feel like I'm interfering in our listeners' conversations because
No, I
they're
think
going back and forth.
That's okay. And that's great, though. You know, you don't have to necessarily be communicating with us, communicate with each other,
Yeah.
back and forth, which is what you're doing. We like that. Nice little garden community.
So, if you do have new containers, get a drill. Make sure you drill holes in the bottom before you plant them up. Use good potting soil. I'm trying to think of some of the other things that problems water can cause. Tiger mentioned while he was here to watch out for areas that aren't draining. If you've got
Right.
2 or 3 days after the rain and you still have puddles in that area, that's a problem. And anything that's in that area has a possibility of dying.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though rainwater has oxygen in it, once it puddles and stays, eventually
It dissipates, right?
it
The oxygen.
dissipates, and you've got
Right.
a chance for root rot.
God, nobody wants root rot.
No. One thing you can do if you have plants out that are exposed to the weather is just take, and especially if you're in a windy area, just take the pot and turn the plant on its side.
You know, you gave me that advice about 6 months ago when I was talking about all the leaves that had accumulated in the pots.
Right.
And they're in rose containers, and there's thorns, and I can't get my hand in there. You said, just pick it up and dump it over.
Yeah.
To which I responded, oh, yeah, duh, good idea. Yeah, how come I didn't think of that?
Well, your pots can fill up with a lot more leaves than most
Right.
people's pots because you have so much room.
And there's still Osmocote, by the way, that you put into those pots.
That's spent though.
Yeah, yes,
It
by this
doesn't-
time, yeah, of course.
Yeah, all the fertilizer's leached out.
Now, as far as fertilizing right now,
Now's the time.
I was going to say,
Yeah. If you
roses, just about everything, right?
just about everything, if you're using an organic food, for sure you can use
Milorganite,
use
what
it
I
on
like to
anything.
use.
I used Milorganite fertilizing the roses, but ran out of it. So I'm using some other organics that I have. Mixing up.
Fertilome is good also.
Fertilome has some great organic
Right.
products.
And we will be talking with the representative from Fertilome here in the not-too-distant future. They're a great sponsor of the show, so we want to thank Fertilome for, keeping us on the air. And again, you can learn a lot more about Fertilome as well. We've got the little graphic up there right now if you're watching us on Facebook. It says Fertilome, Garden Coat, MPK plus Micros.
Wow.
And that's your Fertilome update for this week, John. Hey, speaking of that, Tiger's not back yet, but we're going to take a break as we approach
Already?
the end of this segment. It's quick, huh? He's not even here. Look how quick that went.
Wow.
I did notice we dropped a few viewers, though, when he left. But he'll
Well-
be back in a few minutes.
Yeah, so come on back.
Do stay with us.
Let's talk about him while he's gone.
Let's do that, shall we?
Okay.
Hey, for those on Biz Talk Radio, we're going to take a break specifically for you. Thank you for sponsoring our show, the many sponsors of Garden America, Fertilome, so on and so forth. We're back after these messages. Facebook Live and Biz Talk Radio. Hey, just like that, we are back. Very quick break on Facebook Live. By the way, those that are tuned in on Biz Talk Radio, this is the final segment of hour number 1, which means top of the hour news coming up. We are back at 6 minutes after. We do hope that you can catch at least one or both hours on Biz Talk Radio. So thank you for tuning in. Tiger's not back yet, but I would suspect he'll be back very soon.
Lila, our friend Lila
Yes.
in Poway, wants to know what kind of potting soil we'd recommend for large urns. She just bought some for her outdoor patio. If you want to save some money, I would use Happy Frog. If you want the best, it's a little more expensive. Use the Ocean Forest.
But isn't it worth it, though, really pay a little bit more or not between Happy Frog and the
If you're only buying a few bags, maybe.
Happy, yeah, right.
But it's, I would venture to say that I have used
Because you have a lot of
close to,
plants.
for sure, over 500 bags in the last 2
Yeah,
years.
so you want to be the happy frog guy.
Well, you got 500 bags, and now it's up to $30 a bag.
Wow, times 500.
Yeah, that's what, 15,000?
Yeah.
$15,000 in Fertilome, and they don't advertise on our. I'm sorry, not Fertilome, because they do advertise.
They do advertise.
But
Happy frog.
but yeah, the Fox Farm does not advertise, and I still spend that much money on their products.
That was quick. Tiger's back with us. You know what? We just ended the segment, and we just started this one.
And
so,
we were just going to talk about you. Now we don't
yeah,
have time.
So get your camera back on you. And that was good, Tiger. 10 minutes.
Looking at the video and see him sneaking in. Hey, so anyway, the difference between the ocean forest and the happy frog potting soil lila is, I think they're similar, except there's more organic fertilizers in the ocean forest. So it's a smaller bag, and I think it's more money, right?
Yeah, than Happy Frog.
Right.
Yeah.
So, maybe we should reach out to them. Anybody listening that wants to sponsor our show, let us know. Heck, we've got a brand new media package together,
There you
so
go.
maybe you know somebody. Hey, we don't mind putting our hand out.
Nope.
Because we want this show to keep rolling along every year. And any generous support, we do appreciate it.
The Tiger's been telling me for the last 2 years I should just buy a pallet of Happy Frog.
Exactly.
He says, I'll sell you a pallet.
Yeah.
But I keep thinking, 10 more bags is all I need.
And
Then
then-
10
and
more bags. Then
We
10
talked
more
about
bags.
Fertilome while you were gone.
Oh, yeah?
Absolutely. And
Excellent.
Well, we were wondering on
Yeah.
the garden code, is that a time release?
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
it is.
Because
Time
it-
release.
Has NPK and micronutrients,
right,
which
I was
is great.
I was reading the icon on our Facebook page to the people that were listening on BizTalk Radio and of course watching on Facebook Live. So I still have some samples of Milorganite that we got a couple of years ago.
Oh, now's the time you use it.
I'm going to use it. Yes,
Either
for the
that or
roses,
bring it in next week, and I'll use it.
or we can try some Fertilome as well.
Well, do you have any of that to bring in?
I do not have Fertilome.
Because you don't buy anything.
Yeah.
I buy
It's all-
some things.
Do
It's
you?
all samples. It's
Well,
all sample sizes.
you're right, little packets. Now, one of those packets though, that goes a long way.
Well, especially for you.
Yeah,
I mean, because
come
you
on.
just have a patio with
I don't have
pots and-
acres like you guys do.
Yeah. John, what was it? 80-pound bag? 50-pound bag of Osmocote.
50-pound
50
bag.
pound
Wow.
bag.
Yeah.
You know what he
And
put-
then-
But last year I used 4.
I was going to say, and that's only a small percentage
he
of
plays
of
with the
what
big
he
boys
needs.
though. It's a different league altogether.
This
Yeah.
year I haven't
Special
bought any
truck.
Osmocote yet.
Special
I don't
truck
know if
comes
I'm
down.
going to. I'm
You're a
trying to
big
get things in
Osmocote
the
guy.
ground.
What's going on?
Well, because I'm trying to get the plants in the ground, and I think that I'm encouraging the plants to stay in their pot if I give them Osmocote.
I was thinking of this question on the way back from my drive right now, John, but because in the show brief, I was going to say, we were going to talk about weeding, and you mentioned it. Right now is a great time to weed because
Right.
the ground is
Yes,
soft.
yes.
It just rained, but weeds are growing. What do you prepare? What do you do to prepare the area that you're planting your roses? Like weeding wise, I know you don't use a lot of soil amendments. You just kind of, maybe fertilize. a
Never,
little bit.
ever use a soil amendment.
But do you weed the area? Do you spray the area weeds before so you don't have to weed later on?
Well, right now I'm just pulling everything out by hand.
Yeah.
So I've got the biggest compost pile I've ever had.
And the key to that is if you get the weeds before they go to seed, you're
Right.
preventing a whole new generation.
Right.
You're
Mm-hmm.
you prevent, because that's the thing, right? The minute that they flower, they have seed,
Right.
it's spreading itself again.
Well, we talked earlier in the year about last year I had some thistles, a few plants that had gone to seed, and this year I had hundreds of thistle plants. And so this year I've tried to get every one before it went to seed.
Yeah. And like you're saying, right now, you identify it, you pull it out, it comes
Right.
right out of the ground.
Right.
So we got
Not
a couple
big
of minutes
deal.
before the break. I want to back up here because Lisa has a question, Tanya a question,
Ooh.
and Millie, and I want to make sure nobody behind them, John.
Well, Jan made a comment about Daphne, and have you
plant?
ever grown Daphne?
No.
It's extremely fragrant. It's one of the most. Matter of fact, the species is odorata, which shows you how
Already,
fragrant it
yeah.
is. But Jan says that it doesn't like the water, and she had a 5-year-old plant that died in a large pot, even though there were holes in it. And I've told this story before, but I had a Daphne plant at my house, old house in Fallbrook, that bloomed probably for 6 years in a row, extremely fragrant, and it was right next to a riser with a sprinkler on it that was broken. And I went and finally said, I really need to fix that thing after 6 years. And I fixed it, and the plant was dead in 3 weeks.
Okay, so
completely dead.
it has to do with it doesn't like that much water. Very careful.
Yeah, what happens
it.
is that there's root rot organisms that attack Daphne right away in wet conditions.
And it was thriving with no water, basically.
Yeah,
right?
basically, only from surrounding areas or rain during the winter. But, here Jan's got a pot that's draining really well, and just so much water constantly, it killed it.
Yeah. And the thing that people have to remember with pots too is that when mature plants are in the pot and they begin to fill their pot with roots, they kind of bind up in the pot.
Right.
Italian clay and ceramic pots, the moisture stays right on those walls. So as those roots grow,
As opposed to plastic.
right?
Yeah, right.
And so as the roots grow, you'll actually grow into the clay itself. The roots, they'll kind of attach themselves because there's moisture in those walls. And if the pot has drainage, even so, sometimes that moisture is just too much for a plant. So that's why, like a lot of real drought tolerant plants don't do well for long term in pots, because you can put cactus mix, you can put drain holes in there, but sometimes those pots just keep it too humid, even after, like we're saying, a big rain. It's just, it doesn't dry out for a week or two. I mean, that's the thing. People say, oh,
we got to take a break,
just won't
Tiger.
water
Sorry.
it.
No, hold that
worries.
thought, and then we got more questions to get to. But I got to
Okay.
keep us on time for the network. We are going to take a break for Biz Talk Radio. News coming up top of the hour. We're back at 6 minutes after. Do stay with us. And those on Facebook Live, we're going to get to your questions. So that and more coming up on Garden America. Hey, welcome back to the show. If you're tuned in on Biz Talk Radio, just joining us, you haven't missed much. Well, yes, you have. But we can bring you up to speed, up to date, because kind of an open conversation today with no guest. We're talking about planting. We're talking about the drought. We're talking about rain. Did you want to finish your thought, Tiger, from before the break?
I was just saying, people will say, oh, I'll control the water in a pot for a plant because they want to grow it in that pot. And I say that's fine for the times you can control water, but you can't control rain. And you can't control sometimes the evaporation rate, meaning like we're talking about, it's 60 degrees. Things just don't evaporate as quickly as when it's 75, when it's 80.
Especially if there's no sun, right? If it's just cloud cover, it stays wet.
So at that point in
thing.
time, you're now at the whim of that plant tolerating this wet, damp environment for a prolonged period of time. And sometimes they don't. And then you can have a plant in a pot for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and then it could just die that one
Or as
time.
John likes to say, we're all at mercy to that big gassy fireball.
Yes, he does.
We have 15. I have 1,500 roses in containers, right? And the last time I watered them was January.
Yes.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Last
my
time I
wife
washed
is
my car was
happy.
December.
Yeah.
She pays the water bill and likes to see it nice and low.
Well, you probably are helping out more around other things around the house.
Brian was kidding after you left. He said we've probably lost a lot of listeners now that Tiger's gone, but Joyce said that she was still listening, Brian.
Thank you, Joyce. Thank you.
Good, Joyce.
Okay, Lisa Martin's question.
Let's see.
Would a whiskey barrel 1/2 be big enough for the bare root plum I got for a year or two?
Ooh, that's borderline, I feel, right? I mean, a half whiskey barrel, if you keep the plum
I would say
cut down, you have to keep it managed, the size.
right, but I would say you could, in a whiskey barrel, you could keep it up to 5 years without any problem.
Yeah.
I've kept them in a 5-gallon can for 2 years. You probably have too, right?
Yeah,
At
a
the
couple
garden
years.
center.
Because
You
you
gotta-
forget about it.
You do.
trees
do.
don't move fast in
Yeah, exactly.
downtown San Diego.
No, so yeah, we just shift it to a 15, and then you buy yourself another couple more years.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I think the
More than a year
critical-
or two, right?
Yeah. and like I say, like inevitably it will be fine if you keep the tree size managed, right? Because that's the thing is those fruit trees, like citrus, stone fruits, if you minimize the tree size, then the roots don't matter as much as far as the root size. It's when they grow big is when they have these big roots. So
I noticed all the fruit trees are blooming heavily this year, and the weather's been perfect.
it has been for them.
Tanya, can I feed citrus now?
Oh, first Lenore.
Okay.
Lenore wants to know if ocean forest it would be good for planting tomatoes. Would be excellent.
Yes.
Probably the best thing that you could use.
Take off.
Right. And then Tanya said, "Can I feed citrus?"
Where's she? At
Yes.
She's in Northern California,
She's
right?
in San Jose.
San Jose.
Right.
again? So she's
Yeah. If you're using organic fertilizers, again, for sure. If you were worried about if you go further than north in San Jose, like up into the Redding area, you might want to wait another week or two.
Yeah.
But with organics, don't worry about it.
It's not gonna
As
be
soon as the
super
weather
fast.
warms up, they'll use it.
I'm feeling very anxious right now because I want to start fertilizing. All this fertilizer talk.
You should be fine.
I know, but it's just I want to get there. I should have,
But
with all the
you
rain
only
and
have
stuff.
4 packets of samples.
I got
It's gonna
but
go
I got
very far.
I got a lot of them. Maybe for you and John that wouldn't be very much, but I can cover a lot.
Yeah.
And then Millie wanted to know if, I think Millie's in Napomo. She said she wanted to know a good soil for tomatoes in containers, and we just answered Lenore's question, the same thing. Ocean forest, the best probably, and after that would be Happy Frog.
Yep.
But the ocean forest will have the fertilizers in it. What are the best? Does Fertilome have soils?
You know,
potting soils?
They do, but they're all on the East Coast.
Oh, okay.
So I am not familiar with their soil line very
And
well.
as good as they are, it's not worth driving to the East Coast just to get
just
a bag.
to get a couple bags of potting soil.
Happy Frog. Then there's Contented Toad, I think, which never really took off, but
I had
Satisfactory salamander.
Satisfactory Salamander, exactly.
I had an unusual experience with a toad.
Don't tell me you tried to lick it.
No, but I'm setting gopher traps everywhere, trying to get gophers, right? And yesterday, one finally went off in the front area where I have my plumeria planted, and I pulled it out, and I said, "Oh, I've got a gopher," because I was resisting, and a big, huge, fat toad came out.
Like well fed, right?
Like
Whoa.
big, like that
Whoa.
big.
Nice.
I don't
That's
know.
the size of a cantaloupe.
Yeah, just about. It was the biggest
Jeez.
toad I've ever seen, and I felt bad because I thought, did I get him?
Up by your house?
Yeah.
Not even in the creek area?
No. I've
Whoa.
had them around the house before.
You should be able to hear them at night croaking, right?
Do toads croak?
Or is it frogs?
Frogs croak.
Okay.
This one
Well,
might have croaked because
Everything
of the
eventually,
trap.
everything eventually croaks, but yeah.
But I don't know.
So what did you do? What happened?
Well, it was still moving, and I left it there, and it wasn't. Once it came out, the trap wasn't attached to it anymore. So I thought,
Maybe see what happens.
I don't know if it really got the toad or what happened. But it was kind of laying there, and I went in the house and then didn't think about it for a couple hours, came back, and it was gone.
No.
So either something
ate
ate it or it hopped away.
Well, and then
But I really like toads, so I felt bad about that. But it
Yeah.
shouldn't have been hiding in a gopher hole.
Well, and the thing with reptiles sometimes, especially probably this time of year,
Those are amphibians.
well, amphibian, but like
But switching to reptiles.
yeah, reptiles, amphibians, living animals, creatures. Yeah.
they move slow, right? So, sometimes you think it's dead and then you're like, oh, just isn't quite as active as you would think it would
right.
be. Yeah.
Now reptiles, of course, the cooler the weather, the more docile they are too, because
Yeah.
everything slows down because they're cold-blooded and they need the sun to warm up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, by the way, how's your alligator population, John? Is that going to be a problem?
Oh, I have a picture to show you.
Mm-hmm. See how this segues in?
Yeah.
Everyone thinks we just sit down and do the show.
No.
A lot of thought goes into this, timing.
The
we have a whole room
choreographing.
of writers.
Well, the choreographing, John, is
Choreographing's really important.
magnificent.
Yeah, exactly.
Were your kids just sitting outside waiting to get in the house?
No, I mean, yes.
This was a
but
picture that I
not for very long.
took in Florida, Brian, and that's my foot.
That's an alligator
Can
by
we
your foot?
Can we show that on a camera?
Here, I'll put
I don't know.
John.
You
hold
know
it up
what's
here- hold it up to
weird
the
is
camera in front of
this.
you.
Yeah, hold it in front of your camera, John. There you go.
I'll have to see when this
Is
comes
it biting your foot?
up. They're just playing.
They're just playing
What?
around.
That's not playing.
Yeah, he is. He's trained.
What?
That's
There we
Wally
go.
Gator, right?
Who does that?
Because Wally Gator's a swinging navigator in the swamp.
Jeez. Got it.
Well, you know, I wasn't sure I was alive, so I stuck my foot in
Sure.
to see.
Which is what they recommend.
It turns out it was just a statue.
But they do recommend, if you're not sure, put your foot or your hand or
Hand.
something in the mouth to see what happens.
Your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Check
well,
if it's breathing.
well done, John. Lots of crickets in the backyard, says Lori. Yes.
Crickets. Oh yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I've noticed crickets.
I've seen a increase in cricket population in my yard.
Now, I wonder if the weather has anything to do with that. What would increase the cricket population?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I don't either.
Darlene says,
These wood. We have these wood weevil bugs that come out in late spring in my house. Every year it's happened.
Wood weevils.
And they don't hurt anything, but I'm talking millions of these are around my house. And I can't figure out
wow.
what or why.
And
You
they're
can't
wood,
get-
they're wood weevils?
Yeah, I looked it up before, and it's a little weevil, but it just eats decomposing material.
Oh, so they're probably doing good.
No, they're not bad, but
There's a curiosity factor.
Millions
Yeah.
of them.
Biblically, millions?
It is. I think they're
It's
going to
like a plague.
They're going to carry me away one day.
Okay, we got about a
And you
minute
know
before
what?
the
You
break.
can't get rid of them because they wobble, but they won't fall down. Darlene mentions that she's got a great, lovely rose garden at the Charles Fayette Lot Home Museum in Oroville. She said, if we're up there, come visit.
With a couple of hearts attached to that comment.
Yeah,
Will do.
we'd like to. We haven't been up in the Chico area for a long time.
that where-
I think it was 2010.
Is that where
Really?
Because I was sitting in the car with Bruce.
That was 12 years ago.
I was sitting in the car with Bruce after we'd done an event. We had the Aztec game on. And it was at the end of the game when they won to make it into the Sweet 16. And we're high-fiving each other and like, yeah, you know. So that's how I remember that time period. Because Kawhi Leonard was still with the Aztecs at that time. Hey, it is break time. Got to take a quick break for our friends on Biz Talk Radio, Facebook Live. And as they say, and have said for so many years, back after these messages. We are back, broadcasting live from the iHeartMedia studios in San Diego, California. So again, a quick shout out to our Aztec basketball team here, beating the number one team in the nation yesterday, Tiger and John, Alabama Crimson Tide. Now they're off to the Elite Eight, and we'll find out who they play. So that's our shout out to the Aztecs. And if your team's still involved, if your brackets are still good, congratulations.
Do you get the feeling that San Diego is becoming more of a sports town? I mean, with all the things that we have going on, we got lacrosse, we got rugby, we have
We do have all those sports.
colleges.
You know what's funny about the lacrosse team? So I get an order yesterday to cut a commercial for a station in Denver. And they say, this week, the loudest arena in the country, it's the Denver Mammoth against the San Diego Seals. I'm like, I'm doing a commercial for Denver, a team playing the San Diego Seals.
Yeah. That's funny.
The Colorado Mammoth. So back to your question. And when you start winning, it does help, too. There's a lot of bandwagoners.
They're all sports nobody cares about, though.
It's a niche.
I don't know. I think basketball's pretty big.
Yeah. He's talking about lacrosse and rugby. And
Throw in college sports, all college sports.
Wow.
David,
Colleen says that San Diego State's playing Creighton.
Yeah. Did they get decided? Was that game decided?
That's what she says.
All
so you
right.
see, we go from gardening to sports, and our viewers and listeners jump right in.
what about finance?
Yeah, we can talk finance.
Yeah.
Gardening, finance, and sports. Colleen, thank you very much for that update.
David says, Tiger, and I don't know, don't know if this is what you were referring to, but he says he has millions of Coleruteria seed bugs this year.
Coleruteria seed bugs?
Yeah, he said they're always here, but this year seems to be 10 times as many.
Okay, it must have something to do with the moisture, the rain, or not.
Well, I don't know, but I'm just wondering if those are the weevils that Tiger was talking about.
I'm looking it up.
And Carla said that she had lots of crickets, but her husband bought some lizards home from the park, and now they have very few.
Inverted yield curve.
What?
Tony says inverted yield curve. Maybe that's a topic we want to discuss. You know, sports, gardening, inverted yield curves. It's very good, Tony. I like that sense of humor. If that's what you're.
Rochelle is taking me to
driving
task, and Rochelle, I usually tongue in cheek and was kidding somewhat, but not really.
About
about the sports.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Look,
especially San Diego State, right?
She's a big basketball fan.
Right.
I used to see her.
The last time I
games.
went to a San Diego State game, Chuck and Rochelle were there.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And a matter of fact, the only time I ever went to a San Diego State game.
Was I working that game?
You were, because Dana was there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the baseball game we went to years ago? You and I went to the Padre game to see the Phillies.
Eric was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I do remember that. I
See,
keep
Tony
waiting.
says it's a finance term. Tony, you. Okay, John, you're still
I've
friends.
heard that. Do you ever listen to those financial stations?
No.
On the weekend, that's all you can get.
That's all you can get. Yeah. Exactly.
Why?
Because they pay time and they want your business.
There's a financial show on that we listen to in the morning when we get in here in studio.
Yeah, it's business, gambling.
It's business.
Remember, John, gambling's a business. You got to treat it as such.
This is not. This is a business. This is not a gambling decision that they're making.
Exactly.
I feel better, Rochelle, so we can still be friends.
Yeah.
No, it is not the Coleruteria seed bug that is plaguing me, but I have seen those ones, kind of like a little red and white.
And there's millions of them.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is, but I identified it at once, and when it happens again, because it happens annually, I'll document it and make sure to share it.
How big are these little things?
Small.
You couldn't even take a picture and blow it up.
Yeah, no. 4 or 5 ant sizes. So they're bigger than an ant, but smaller than like a beetle or weevil or.
So you could take a picture.
Yeah. I could take a picture.
Blow it up and.
And what would be amazing, Brian, is the video of them. They, for some reason, I have a canyon in the backyard,
right,
and then I have a street in the front yard. I don't know where they're going, but they migrate from my canyon to the street, and then I don't know where they go. I have no clue where they go.
See if you can do a quick video. Do a quick video.
Will.
You know, a little quick hit, as we say.
Yeah.
And hey, any videos that you'd like Tiger to shoot, let us know. These are quick now. We're not talking about 10, 15 minutes, little quickies. So yours are about what, 2 minutes?
Yeah, 2 minutes.
About 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I've been waiting to do one.
We can do it.
Waiting for the right time.
No, I've been waiting for the dandelion tree flowers to open up. Are yours open yet?
So I'm waiting. I have flowers. Do you have flowers?
I have the buds.
Okay,
flower buds, but they're not open.
I want to get a picture of the seed, the flower, and the plant. I think that will happen.
Really?
Yeah, because my flowers are kind of opening at different times.
Well, if you do the video instead of me, I was going to use the line something like, maybe a Midwest gardener's worst dream is that dandelions are growing on trees now.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
It's a dandelion tree.
Right.
And my plant is big. How big is your plant?
Well, I gave you the plant that I had.
Okay.
Because I had one come up from a seed in a rose pot.
Okay.
So I pulled it out of the rose pot, and now it's probably close to waist high.
Okay.
Maybe a little less, but close to waist. And they look like Dr. Seuss trees when they first start, but then they branch out. And
mine's a dense bush.
Is it?
Yeah.
And how tall is it? About waist high?
About waist high.
Yeah.
Flowers come up to a mid waist chest, kind of once they spike up off the plant. But
and it's a good drought tolerant
so
plant
that will
too.
reseed.
Well, I don't know if it's not going to recede like regular dandelions.
No.
You know, it's not going to be invasive, but it does seed. The one that I have
That's
came
cool.
up from seed.
Yeah.
You could. I know what you're thinking. Can I collect the seed, pot them up, and sell them at the nursery?
Yeah. Right.
Of course you could.
Yeah.
The,
But what I was going to mention about the dandelion tree though too is that mine went almost completely, like I thought it was dying.
dormant. They go dormant in the
okay.
winter, almost like plumeria, except not as long.
Yeah, no, it didn't go nearly as
Right.
long, and it came back
Right
real
away.
quick.
Yeah.
So I thought it was like a summer dormant plant because it kind of started happening more in the summer, fall.
Well, it depends. Did you water in the summer?
No, I don't ever water this area that it's at.
Yeah, that could be. That could be what happened.
I like that. I never water this area.
How's your Peggy Martin rose doing with all this rain? Because you never watered that area.
Never
either.
water that area either. It's getting pretty big, and because it's been cool. I'm
Right.
excited to see what happens when it warms up. I think it's gonna blow.
Yeah, I
when it
think
warms
this is
up.
going to be a good year for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It's going to be a fun year.
yeah.
Let's see. We're close to a break, so let's
Do
take
you have
that
any
break
more
now.
questions?
I think we're pretty much caught up. Millie's got a question here. We'll come back, Millie. We'll hit that question, and the rest of you on Facebook Live, whatever's on your mind. This next segment, it's a longer one, about 10 minutes or so do stay with us. This break is for you. This break is for our friends on Biz Talk Radio on Garden America. We have returned from the break. Those on Biz Talk Radio, those on Facebook Live. John is here. Tiger's here. I thought I'd drop by for a couple of hours. It all worked out. Tiger left, came back. See, we're good.
Yeah.
We're good. In fact, now that we know you can do that, you can make a 7-Eleven run for us every now
Oh,
and then.
like,
what a
boom, boom.
great idea! You know, we always bring in half full cups of coffee in the
Yeah.
morning. We can get nice fresh ones.
The
Sure.
break. Yeah.
All right, John, bring
I've
us
got
up to date.
I would have a special request though, because when I make my coffee, maybe you guys do this too. I hope it's not weird, but you take
I
a
mentioned this before.
take a cup of coffee and you put in, fill it about a third of the way with caramel cappuccino.
Okay.
And-
Cappuccino?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little thing you dump in there, right?
Oh.
No, it comes out of, this is if you go to,
You're going to
Like-
mix it.
yeah,
Yeah,
like-
they have like the machine that has hot
Right.
cocoa, caramel macchiato.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
So put in the caramel macchiato, cappuccino, a third of the way, then another third of the way with cinnamon coffee. What is that? Coffee de ollo?
Yeah.
Is that what they call that?
Uh-huh.
And then the other third of the way with the extra heavy caffeined one, whatever that's called.
From deep
Stoke
dark,
or whatever.
like we call it Norwegian river mud.
And then you put in some
Yeah.
cream.
Really?
Yeah.
No, that's not-
That is a request.
That's a cost.
Right.
That's not weird. You
And
know-
then of course, like we've mentioned before, if you put the sleeve on, make sure it's facing the front of the container, and
That's like when you go to the soda machine and you get a little bit of everything.
It's called the suicide.
Yeah.
Suicide.
That's-
You know what we're on
that's
now?
John's.
We're drinking
coffee.
Dana turned me on to French pressed coffee.
Oh, you snobbies.
Oh my gosh.
Coffee snobs.
You ever had
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay. It is so you
You never
fill it
had
up,
French
you do it.
press?
You've
No?
got the coffee in there and then it presses down and it I don't know technically, maybe one of our viewers or listeners knows this. It gets rid of all the acidity or something. So it's just pure coffee. And there's a huge difference. Doesn't upset your stomach. It's you know what I was talking about,
Yeah.
being a coffee snob.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good. French
Yeah.
press.
Yeah.
So I don't know if somebody knows what's
And
actually
you gotta just press it just at the right speed because
Right.
you don't want it to cloudy and
Yeah.
you don't want the grains to come through.
It is so.
and-
If somebody knows what's happening to the coffee and why it's so good, let us know.
Well, there's different grades of coffee too,
Sure.
and the cheaper the coffee, the more.
better it is for you.
No. I'm trying to think of
Well,
the
we buy pretty good coffee.
yeah.
So
But there's different varieties of coffee Arabica.
Right.
see, John had to learn this when he was going to
When I was in
Start
Cuba.
making coffee.
Yeah. Oh,
well,
you were in
no, I
Cuba,
actually
yeah.
learned it in Cuba, and then my mind just went blank on the species of coffee that grows fast, is cheap, but is extremely bitter. and that's what they use for espresso in
You
Europe.
just said the word bitter. There's
Yeah.
no bitterness with the French press coffee at all. Clean. It's a really clean taste. Thank you. Bitter. That was it.
Well, you're welcome.
I just couldn't think. I'm trying to explain why it's so good, and it's like drinking fresh water, good filtered water.
But
It's
I do
in the coffee bean and the roast. Okay.
But I do appreciate your when you use those machines, John. When you use those machines like the macchiato machine,
Right.
when you do it straight macchiato, it's too sweet.
Too much.
It's too sweet.
Right.
You
Yeah,
need to
you
dilute
cut it
with-
down.
You need to dilute it with some coffee.
Right.
You know.
It's true.
Right.
Very true. Those are too sweet.
And I use the cinnamon one just for a little bit of added
Well,
flavor.
cinnamon's
So
good for you too.
I was going to tell you a little why they call it café de olla.
Yeah.
So it's coffee pot. It's because what that is there's this big clay pot that sits in the kitchen, and it has the coffee in it and cinnamon, and it's almost like a never-ending pot. So they never really like dump it and clean it out. They just
Like sourdough starter.
Yeah, they just add more to it. And so it's just this very flavorful kind of pot of coffee that they would normally keep. And so that's why it's called that.
And you don't have to worry about bacteria and stuff because it has the cinnamon in it?
I have no clue. I mean, I'm sure this is Mexico we're talking
So we got
about.
coffee talk going on now with our Facebook viewers there.
So
French press is the best. Good coffee talk.
Aren't there
I'm sure there are things you probably got to worry about.
aren't there some oil pots that they use to water plants
And
in
that's
the
like
ground?
the same, it's a terracotta pot. So an oil pot, olla, it's O-L-L-A.
The
it's
coffee is OLLO though, right?
Yeah.
Oyo.
But the it's a terracotta pot, and the ones that are used in the ground, they don't seal it, so you fill the pot, you bury it in the ground, fill it with water, and then the water slowly seeps out of the pot because it's just a porous terracotta clay.
Do you remember the days of percolating coffee in a percolator before the coffee machines? John knows what I'm talking about. You'd fill the coffee up and it would percolate, and there'd be a glass top.
Oh yeah,
and you see
like
the
on a stove. On a stove.
You see the coffee percolating. That was good coffee as well.
Yeah.
OLLA, Lenore says.
By the way, I was trying to think of the coffee I was trying to think of before was coffee rostrata.
Rostrata.
Right.
So Arabica rostrata.
No,
What?
Arabica is the good coffee. Rostrata's the bitter.
Oh, so it's
That's-
not even an Arabica. So it's not
Right.
Arabica.
It's a different species.
Okay.
There's like at least 4 different species of coffee, and then Arabica. There's a lot of varieties.
Right.
It would be like a Guatemalan avocado. There's one type, but then many varieties.
Many varieties of it. Yeah, coffee's a big
it's
a
a
big
whole
thing.
culture.
It's a big thing, and that's just it. You go into the store and you'll see what are they? Little bag of coffee. I forget what they're 5 ounce, 8 ounce, whatever bag of coffee. And there's the ones that are $5.99, and then there's the ones that are $19.99.
Yep.
And you can, wow.
And if it's geisha coffee, grown in Fallbrook, it's $100.
Exactly.
And the elephant dung coffee is really expensive.
Well, what is like a monkey or something?
No, it's an elephant. I think it's elephant dung.
No, it's not elephant dung. It's
a cat.
It's a cat.
Right?
It's a cat, really?
Yeah.
I thought the elephants kind of knows their way into the coffee world. No. So, but that coffee. Speaking of expensive, that's hugely expensive.
And it doesn't. It helps you remember things because it came through an elephant.
See, I still think the elephants
And you
are
have to
involved.
store it in a trunk.
Oh boy, here we go. We got the dad joke starting. You know why elephants don't like using computers?
Why?
They're afraid of the mouse. I had to jump on.
You know
John's
what?
Joke.
That joke is generational because there's kids that don't even know what a mouse is.
Yeah, exactly. What are you talking about? Okay, Darlene says her rosemary's beautiful now. No additional water, lots of flowers, and bees.
Oh,
Bada boom.
My rosemary for the first time is looking really good. It's the golden rosemary.
Ooh.
And the leaves are gold.
So it looks yellow and weak, huh?
No, it's
Yellow
more,
and weak?
It looks sick?
it's more like
Tired?
It just reminded me of
Fatigued?
Zach Galifianakis interview with
Between the Ferns?
yeah,
Between the two birds.
the one with Hillary Clinton,
Oh.
and where he says, how does President Obama like his coffee? Weak. So anyway, Darlene also says that we haven't been up to Butte County in a long time. And she said they've got plenty of water with the atmospheric rivers, that we should go up. You know what? Call your local radio stations and just say, hey, have these guys up, because we're happy to come. Or better yet, call a local retailer and just say, why don't you call the radio station and sponsor these guys to come up and make an appearance?
We'd love it.
We
Don't
will
forget-
do that anywhere in the state or out of state.
Absolutely.
I don't know if we could go to India or Pakistan,
Brian
because
got his passport. He's good now.
there you go.
My
All right.
passport expires in 2024.
Yeah, so he's
think.
good for another year.
Hey, Veronica says, don't forget Millie's mint question. Did we address
Oh,
that?
no, I was trying to get to that.
Thank you, Veronica.
Yeah,
you know
thanks
what? We've
for
got such
reminding
good
me.
viewers and listeners. Thank you
Yeah.
for keeping us back on track now with gardening.
Yeah. Millie said that she's got holes in her mint leaves,
Oh.
and she wants to know what they're from.
Mm-hmm.
She said that she doesn't see any bugs or larvae, and she sprayed with neem oil. Any suggestions? Well, first of all, it is possible that we've mentioned this before, that it was caused by hail.
Could be.
If you had any hail in your area, then you would get holes. But the other thing that causes holes this time of year is sow bugs and earwigs.
Yep.
And they're in the soil, and the neem will probably not do anything for those.
No.
So what you might want to do is
Neem is more for chewing insects.
Right.
I mean, sucking insects. Yeah.
Yes.
Spinosid's more for the chewing insects.
Right.
And I think spinosad would.
Do you think so? I was going to
I
mention,
feel like I saw it on
to
spinosad.
make sure you covered all your bases, to use, what's the snail and slug?
I was gonna say,
Sluggo.
Sluggo
Sluggo.
Plus,
right.
has sow bugs.
We
and
got to duck out for a break.
those on it. So
One
Sluggo
more
Plus.
segment.
PLUS.
Say it again.
Sluggo Plus.
Okay, Sluggo Plus. Last break. One more segment after this. Back after these messages on Biz Talk Radio. And we are back. We've returned. It is our final segment. What a quick show. Good interaction with comments, questions. A lot of different topics today, the coffee talk and the various things we discussed as far as this time of the year, what you should be doing, all the rain we've had, and a few do's and don'ts.
You know, I've put this out to you many times, Brian, but especially now, it's so much fun pulling weeds, and you don't have that many at your
No, but
home.
would you set up a camera so I can watch you do it from
No,
home?
I was going to say, come on up.
Oh, you're so generous.
And you know what? Bring Dana.
Would you make me a tuna sandwich?
I would. I don't know about tuna,
You
but
love tuna. What are you talking about? You always-
I haven't had tuna in many years.
No, you always talk about how you like your tuna sandwiches just right, just so.
You mean with the sunflower seeds?
Yep. See, I have a good memory.
Yeah, but I haven't been able to eat tuna since my unfortunate mishap 5 years ago.
Oh, has it been 5 years already?
Yeah,
Good.
it's going on 6.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I did taste tuna about I think maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and I thought, that's what it is. And I think I could eat it, but wasn't motivated.
Tiger's got something to share.
So we were talking about the earwigs, cutworms, sow bugs, pill bugs. Fertilome has the bug, slug, and snail bait, which has iron phosphate and spinosad.
Oh,
So that's another
The
great
spinosad
product.
for the chewing insects.
That's definitely the earwigs, sow bugs,
Yeah.
pill bugs, crickets, ants, slugs, and snails.
now you can get Fertilome only at independent garden centers. You won't
Correct.
find it in the box stores.
and
So,
that's a good thing.
well,
We like it. We like our mom.
not if you don't have an independent nursery next to
Yeah,
you.
Well,
you
we
can
like
order
our
it online.
independent nurseries.
But
we support them.
yeah, there's nothing better than an independent nursery. I hate any that are aligned one way or the other. I like them to be independent.
Yes, exactly.
But anyway, go to your local garden center and ask for that Fertilome
No, I think
product.
you should
What was
demand it.
What was it called again?
Bug, Bug, slug, and snail bait.
Bug, slug, and snail.
You got to
bait.
demand it these days. You don't ask, you demand for it.
Do you remember the title of Lorne Nancaro's book?
Yeah, we discussed that a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Did we?
It was
Yeah.
a great title.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was Bugs, Slugs, and Other Thugs.
Bugs, slugs.
I
and
thought it was
other
something
thugs.
like dead snails leave no trails or something.
Yeah, that was another. Yeah, what was that?
Yeah, didn't he have a few
Dead snails leave no
books?
trails. And then we talked
You know
about.
what? Maybe that was his book, and Bugs, Thugs, and Other Slugs, or Bugs, Slugs, and Other Thugs might have been someone else.
And then-
I'd have to look that up.
a couple of weeks ago because I was listening to a rerun of our show this morning, one of our podcasts, that Gina came up with something about the deceptive spring,
Yeah, Spring of Deception.
spring of deception.
Yeah,
And you were
Okay.
going to do an article on that.
that follows the winter of our discontent.
Lorne Nancaro had the worm book, Dead Snails Leave No Trails,
Uh-huh.
Dead Daisies Make Me Crazy, and
So somebody else wrote Bugs, Slugs.
the Slug Thug one is not one
Right.
of Lorne Nancaro's. Yeah.
Tanya is probably a new listener within the last 6 years, so she wanted to know what mishap I had.
Oh, yeah, you
know-
fell and slammed your head on the
And
driveway.
you know what? It goes along with what we were talking about because it happened while I had an empty tuna fish can
Yeah.
and I was taking it to the recycle bin and I
Was it wet? Was it slick
It
and
was.
wet?
It had just rained. The driveway was
There was
slippery,
a banana peel in the driveway.
Flipped on a banana peel like a cartoon.
and I went back and cracked my head open, and it still chokes me up.
Yeah, go ahead and clear your throat there. Hey, could Sluggo poison
That's better.
lizards?
Better.
Sluggo
No.
poison lizards. No.
No.
No, Lenore, you're good.
Because it's iron phosphate and spinosad, and neither of those products would
Right.
affect a lizard.
Right.
Spinosad is just a bacteria.
Right.
So, you know,
Is it garlic? Is there garlic in spinosad?
No,
No
that's
garlic.
different.
Okay.
No.
But and then iron phosphate, I mean, I don't know. Maybe if they ate it, but I don't think it's deadly.
No, it doesn't hurt pets,
Yeah.
dogs, cats.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin wants to know why all the rain this year.
Why all the rain?
Is it El Nino? Well, usually we know ahead of time. They'll say,
Why?
hey, it's an El Nino year. Get
No, it
ready
just
for the
goes
rain.
to show you how much of the weather people don't know.
This kind of just snuck up. Nobody predicted this.
There was no mass articles
No.
6 months ago saying this was going to be the rainiest year that we're ever going to have.
Now, that said, because we know John does not believe in the Farmer's Almanac,
Yeah.
did the Farmer's Almanac predict
rain.
a rainy season this year in California or in general? 'Cause
Farmer's
see, I remember these things.
Hey,
John doesn't go by
the
that.
Farmer's Almanac. It's not gambling. It's a business.
It's a business. Exactly. It's a business. Couple of minutes to go, guys. 2 minutes about 2 minutes or so.
So I don't know if I finished the story, but I fell backwards.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Got a skull fracture, had brain hemorrhaging, and
And you're still here.
I'm still here.
No, you finished the story like 30 minutes ago. Where you been?
Physically, I'm still here.
And you
That's what
sent
I
me
meant.
that picture of yourself in the hospital. My gosh.
Oh, I
that was-
think I still have
it's
it on my
cryptic.
phone.
It's cryptic. It looks like Frankenstein monsters just waking up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very cryptic. Now you were aware when you sent that to me, right? Do you remember sending it?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if your head was a little, burp, burp,
No, I said I can't do the show next week, and you said you're going to be here no matter what. And I sent you the picture, and you said, no, stay
And
home.
I said, I went, whoa, whoa.
I think it was from the hospital, the
It
picture
was from the
that
hospital.
I sent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yikes.
you didn't get out right away. Yeah.
It was the only time in my life I've ever been in the hospital.
Yeah.
3 days.
Yeah,
And
that
I-
was like me with a cat bite 3
Then I-
years ago. Only time I ever had to spend time in the hospital,
Yeah.
ever. And I'm like trying to pull these things off of me, get these off of me. Why am I all hooked up? They're like, dude, just calm down. It's very serious. You could die. What? Just relax. We're taking more blood.
I told you they had asked me questions while I was there because I thought maybe he had a concussion or
Okay,
something.
make it quick because running out of time.
Yeah, and what year? I said, 1917.
Who's the president? Taft?
And I said, no, that's 2017, because 1917 was the year of the Russian Revolution.
Oh, you came back with that.
Yeah.
And they said, well, that's nice. We're not concerned about your long-term memory. It's the short-term memory that we have a concern about. Hey, that is going to do it. Thank you so much. We had a great time. We hope you enjoyed the show. Those on Biz Talk Radio, those watching us on Facebook, please go to our website, gardenamerica.com. Check it out. Flip through the pages. You can listen to shows, articles, guests from the past, bios. It's all there with our website. John, that's going to do it.
All right.
See you
Be
later.
back next week.
You bet. Have a great rest of your weekend, a great week, and we'll do it again next week right here on Garden America. Take care.